Welcome everyone to the March 2nd Select Board meeting. Should you choose to, I'm sorry, roll call of attendance, please.
Samaco present.
Capiello present.
Manchurek.
Sakoshi here.
And Hardikoff present. If you choose to, please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to ask the board to please consider adding agenda item L, where we would give permission for the Girl Scouts to utilize the transfer station and sell cookies. So motion to add that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so moved.
Second.
And I have a second. Roll call, please.
Samaco, aye.
Capiello, aye.
Manchurek, aye.
Sakoshi.
And Hardikoff, aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
I would like to make a motion to approve the agenda as modified.
April well. Okay. Roll call, please.
Samaco, aye.
Capiello, aye.
Manchurek, aye.
Sakoshi.
And Hardikoff, aye. That motion carries. Thank you all. Public comment. This is our first of two public comments that will be opening up. If you are online, you wish to speak, please mouse over your screens, click on the hand icon, and you'll be recognized. Seeing as no one has asked to raise their hand in-house, is there anyone who wishes to speak at this time? Okay, I will close the first of two public comments at this time and move to public hearings. Do we have anyone from the school board present? I don't see anyone at this time. We will move on then to the issuance of a building permit on Longshores Drive, a private road for Rudolph Lawler and Pamela Stowell, map 104, lot 118. Do we open public comment after or before for this?
I'll give you a brief overview. We can accept any public comment.
Excellent.
When the select board's ready, they can make a motion, take a vote. This is an application category 3, option 2, which means that there are road improvements required, and the applicant has proposed a scope that is equal to 10% of the building cost on the building permit. This is on Longshore Drive, the very end of Longshore Drive, and the applicant has proposed $37,000 worth of improvements to the road. There is a portion of that, $7,000, which was contributed within the last 6 months, which is allowed under the policy. And this was reviewed and recommended for the issuance of a building permit by the planning board at their most recent meeting. And one of the applicants and the president or the person in charge of the road association, whatever the title is here if you have any questions.
Okay. Board members, do you have any questions in reference to this?
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
And just thank you for changing so that the language was more specific. That's helpful.
Very good. At this time, would anyone like to make a motion in reference? Oh, I'm sorry. And opening for public comment. Again, if you're online and you wish to speak, please mouse over your screens, hit your hand icon. Seeing as no one has clicked that. Anyone in-house that wishes to speak for or against the issuance of this? Okay, I'll take a motion.
I'll move that we accept, what's the language? We accept this application.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Samaco, aye.
Capiello, aye.
Manchurek, aye.
Sakoshi.
Okay, and just for clarification, motion to authorize the issuance of the building permit.
Right, for map 104, lot 118.
Very good. Thank you all.
Thank you. Staff will be in touch. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Good to see you.
Next up is
Thanks
our
for taking the trip up.
next up is our Energy Committee Chair. Ready to give an update on SB 538. Should we take a vote in reference to this? Just be mindful, your vote will be contingent upon the Energy Committee's vote. Please present.
Still concerns net metering. Net metering, for anybody who doesn't recall, is the mechanism that allows.
Cindy, is your light green or red? There's one button.
Green now.
Great, thank you.
Is the mechanism that allows
when panels produce more than a building use, is the owner of the panels to collect a portion of the cost of the electricity. As it stands, that we're in net metering 2.0. There was a 1.0 version that's set to expire, and I believe it's 1035. I have a local expert. That's on 2035. Yeah. Oh, 2040. Excuse me. And because a lot of loans for example, municipal solar installations are 20 years long, it's creating some market uncertainty. The only reason there is an expiration, based on my reading of the history of the net metering shenanigans, is that essentially, and I think it was 2017, the state said, hey, we're not really sure how much we should value this net metering at. We should study it, and we will, and then we'll update it, and we'll definitely get to that before 2040. So, and then COVID happened and some other things happened, and there was no formal net metering 3.0 that has been approved. The study was completed, and it showed that the current net metering system is valuing the electricity fairly. And so this just allows for some certainty, so that when municipalities, for example, the Poverty Plains project would be an example that we're going to participate in, to get funding for something like that, they can't go to a bank and say, well, we don't know how much revenue we're going to have after 2040.
Right.
And the original net metering 2.0 was bipartisan, so I don't think it's particularly controversial exactly. So the Energy Committee is going to meet on Thursday and review this and make a recommendation, but I think our recommendation will be to ask you to support it. And since Barrington owns 2 arrays, it does impact their revenue stream in the future.
Questions, comments, concerns from the board?
Are there any downsides to this thing?
It keeps in place the existing model for a fixed period of time of 20 years. And that model is currently working. So I'm not aware of any downsides. I suppose one downside could be, some people argue it actually slightly undervalues the value of the PV because it's a distributed energy resource, not just electricity. But at least it puts in place some certainty for the market.
Okay.
The opponents of net metering in general, their position is that net metering it redistributes costs of electricity production and distribution to the renewable source payers. And so, like a local opponent of net metering is Representative Harrington. And so, he has spent a lot of his time in Concord trying to reduce and or eliminate net metering provisions because his position is that it redistributes the cost. And so the report is publicly available, and people, I think, can come to their own conclusions with the available information. But there are opponents to net metering, and in general, their position is that it redistributes costs.
And sometimes it's described as a subsidy, but it isn't really a subsidy. It's just, Seabrook doesn't send electricity onto the grid for free, right? So I should a PV installation do that either. And as far as how it redistributes the cost, I believe that the report that was generated supports the idea that that's probably not very accurate. Of course, yeah. I brought somebody who's actually an expert on PV with me.
So I'm Jack Bingham from the Energy Committee. So the history of this is that there have been over 40 of these third-party reports generated over the years. This is the second one that we, the citizens of New Hampshire, have paid for, and they all say the same thing. There's one from Maine that's about 5 years old that suggests that net metering content is actually worth more than 20 cents per kilowatt when we're paying 13. So
And the SVRED one was the state one that was.
the last one says 12 to 15 cents. And there is one sentence in there that suggests that under certain conditions, net metering would not be a benefit. And those are, if you're a state like California, where your implementation of solar is 20 to 30%, it could become a problem. we're at 3%. And I don't envision a day when we're at 30. I'd like to, but I don't see one.
The some days.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
Thank you for that
I was
clarification.
asking Cindy before the meeting started where this bill was. And it appears it's out of committee and will be going to full Senate. I think you said on March 23rd.
March 23rd. I know the Senate votes on March 23rd. I'm sorry, I was asking for clarification on that and I didn't get it yet, but it sounds like you know better
And
than
then
I
it will
do.
go to crossover and then go
Yes.
to the House.
Yep.
Does it go to a House committee first or just the full House?
I don't know. I'm sorry. I can
usually
get
go
back
to
to you on
committee.
that though.
Committee, back
They
to
usually
committee.
go to committee. Good. What did the committee say, by the way? When it passed out of committee, what was the vote?
Well, the House.
Or I mean, the Senate committee. Well, I thought you said it'd gone out of, they passed it
Well,
on.
that's what we thought, but
I can get you, I'll tell you what, that's not stuff that I know and it's not stuff I'm familiar with, so I'm not going to give you a good answer, but I can certainly get back to you on that. Because I just don't know.
Just more curious than.
It looks
I
like
will
it
come
is
back to
on
you.
the Senate calendar, but it hasn't had a determination from the committee yet. It still says that it's in Senate Energy and Natural Resources Committee.
So it's not out of committee yet. Okay.
It's interesting because it does show that it's on the Senate calendar, Senate calendar 48, but it doesn't have a recommendation yet. So maybe they are
Behind.
planning to provide
Just before
that.
they vote.
But
Okay.
whatever details you have, please send them along.
If I get more information than that, in the next 2 days,
Yep.
I'll let you know.
No,
Okay.
that's good.
Guarantee you.
So what the Energy Committee is asking is that on behalf of the town of Barrington, the select board provide permission for us to sign that letter in reference to SB 538. Any other questions, comments, or concerns in reference to this?
Jim had a question, which we think we know the answer. This is for municipal accounts? Or
Well, it's
individual
for
accounts?
all net metering, but it would affect municipal the most because your private homeowner, it wouldn't be a huge.
I thought it was
Right.
just municipal. I thought
It does
this
say the word
legisl-
municipal in the
Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
language, but
for
I thought it
municipal
was.
solar yeah,
Yeah,
To sure us out.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah, because the way I'm reading it is pretty much we're backing up our guaranteed for what we purchased just for the schools, towns, and, but I didn't know if it affected homes or not, so.
okay. Anyone wish to?
Like a positive thing.
Yeah,
For the
Makes
community.
sense.
it
Or for the
doesn't
town.
change what's already there. It just makes the framework continue a little longer. Thank you.
anyone wish to make a motion?
Make a motion to authorize the issuing,
Authorize the chair of the select
authorize the
board?
chair of the select board to sign on behalf of the town of Barrington a letter of support of SB 538, 2026.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Samaco, aye.
Happy LOI.
Mancheck, aye.
Sakosha.
Hardikoff, aye. Motion carries. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Makes a motion to approve the 2 March 2026 consent agenda A through L as presented.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Samaco, aye.
Happy LOI.
Mancheck, aye.
Sakosha.
Hardikoff, aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Appointments.
So we have updated, as promised, the 2026 Select Board appointments table. And again, this is a new way we're presenting this information. The biggest improvement, I think, is having full exposure to the existing membership of these committees as we're considering appointments and reappointments. And so we started this process at the February 9th meeting. And so there are a number of reappointments that are up for a vote pursuant to the Select Board's appointment to boards procedure. And there are a few that are for a first read or for discussion at this meeting. And so if the chair's interested, maybe discussion of anybody that is up for discussion, and then I'll read into the record the name and the proposed term expiration for those that will be a vote. And then the Select Board, if they're interested in making all those appointments, could just make the motion as proposed.
Quick question for our zoning board chair. Did you have that discussion with the zoning board member of the 1 year or 3 year?
I have not received a response yet. I also don't see any indication on this that we have received any requests for reappointment, so I may have to call.
Okay.
Madam Chair, right?
So
Except
how,
for-
yeah,
Oh. Anyone from the ABC weighed in?
So what our plan with the ABC, generally the ABC isn't appointed or reappointed in March because the committee doesn't really pick up activity until later. What
Now
the
it's-
plan is right now is if the select board sponsored warrant article to appoint a capital improvement committee, program committee is approved by voters, then we would go through that appointment process probably together, looking at advisory budget committee members and members for the capital improvement program committee. We have folks who have already expressed interest, which is terrific, but we'll start that process after a meeting of the town a week from tomorrow.
Yeah, because ABC is going to be longer term processing.
I think we'll have to work out the logistics, but it seems like there may be interest from all of the ABC members existing to participate in that process, which I think the select board is interested in.
In the CIP?
In the CIP committee. Yep. So, yeah, good question. If there are no other discussions, I will just read. These would be the people that you're voting to make a reappointment for and the
Go ahead.
term length. So for the planning board, Bob Tessier with a term through 2029. On the zoning board, Alex Samaco with a term through 2029.
and so there's thought that we would be considering moving the alternate, which is me, to a regular seated position and Alexandra to an alternate position. Could we table that particular vote?
We can?
Is that a good course of action?
Either, yeah.
Okay, I'd like to table that one.
Okay. So we would not be voting on zoning board Alexander Samaco. For the Recreation Commission, we have Brian Callipy with a term through 2029 and Frederick Tester with a term through 2029. On the Conservation Commission, we have Jack Gale with a term through 2029 and Ann Melvin with a term through 2029. Library trustee alternates. These are only 1 year terms per statute. We have Deborah Dady with a term through 2027. On the Barrington Center Development Committee, we have Jeffrey Estes with an alternate appointment through 2029 and Garth Svensson as a full member through 2029. Transfer Station and Recycling Center Committee, we have as a full member Audrey Pat Mead through 2029, and as an alternate, Mona LaPierre through 2029. And those would be those that you'd vote on with the motion.
Did you say Peter Royce? It says-
We haven't,
He is up for discussion, I believe,
Okay.
on the Transfer Station Committee.
Yeah.
no, well,
Okay, sorry, didn't see that.
Okay,
So he's up for discussion on 3.2, and he'll be up for a vote on 3.16.
okay. That's it?
We try to get all of the applications for a reappointment all at once. There's a lot of people. They're all volunteers. And so it's always a 3 or 4 meeting process.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to appoint the individuals indicated with the select board vote date of March 2nd, 2026, all of which were reviewed for discussion at the February 9th, 2026 meeting for the indicated terms on the 2026 terms expiring and reappointment sheet dated February 26, 2026.
Could I have a second?
less the
Alex Samar.
tabled.
Oh,
Less the tabled.
with the exception of the zoning board of adjustments at tonight's meeting.
Yes.
Very good. And a second?
Before you move to a vote, Madam Chair, I will, just for consistency's sake, I will read the staff appointments that are being made also. These are our annual process, but Peter Royce as treasurer through 2027, Tiffany Cottle as deputy treasurer through 2027, Diane Cotter as assistant treasurer through 2027, Crystal Murky as tax collector through 2027, Rebecca Nelson as deputy tax collector through 2027. Thank you.
Could I ask for the first and the second to just amend to add staff to their motions?
Yes, I will amend adding staff to my original motion.
Second as amended.
Okay, roll call vote, please.
Smoke eye.
Capello, aye.
Mancher guy.
Sakosha.
Article 5, motion carries. Thank you. What's up next in this? Our staff report? No? Yes, staff report, sir.
Thank you. I'll start with March work anniversaries. First meeting in March, top heavy as usual. Steve Paul in the Highway Department for 26 years. Eric Lenzi is currently the Assistant Fire Chief, 25 years. Peter Royce, Treasurer, 21 years. Larry Kuhn, Fire Department, 20 years. Will Lenharth, Fire Department, 20 years. Amanda Barber, currently Police Detective Sergeant for 10 years. Steph Sweeney joined the Recreation Department 3 years ago, and Lydia Goodwin was hired as the Library Director 1 year ago this month. Moving on to deliberative session review ballot session information. The content in the Town Administrator Report is largely unchanged with the addition of the 3 sample ballots. You'll see those linked in the Town Administrator Report. Those are available on the town's website. We've shared those on social media, and they're available for viewing in the town clerk's office. Absentee ballot information is also linked in the Town Administrator Report. Anybody looking to vote via absentee can stop by the town clerk's office or give a call.
What has changed about that this year, if anything?
Consult with the town clerk's office.
Okay.
The also included in your printed packet, hopefully everybody received these in their mailboxes. The vote postcard that we send out. Again, I feel this is a really important step that we take in trying to reach all of our residents. We try to meet residents where they are. A lot of them are connected online, but not all of them are. And so this is a relatively low cost, high impact way to reach those folks. Moving on to select board reorganization. This will happen at the beginning of our March 16th meeting. I've linked the select board rules of procedure and copied the applicable section relative to reorganization. The March 16th meeting, what I envision, we'll talk about this in a moment, but we'll open as a regular meeting, start with reorganization, attend to any regular business, of which I don't think there will be a lot, and then move into our strategic planning workshop. Select board committee assignments will be a responsibility of the chair, the incoming chair. If there are any changes, bless you. I printed a copy without draft on it of the updated select board meeting schedule, so you had a copy of that and linked it in the town administrator report. And then moving on to March 16th, so I have linked and not printed for you because I know you have printed copies, but I've linked a copy of the 2025 to 2030 strategic plan, and then also the most recent review from our January meeting that reviews each of the goals, shows progress and progress yet to be made. And so in advance of the strategic planning session, I would encourage the select board members to review those documents and identify any goals or goal areas or action items, new action items, or amending existing action items so that we can, on March 16th, dive into that strategic plan and bring that to an update in an efficient manner, which I believe we'll be able to, and continue the pace that we've been going through the goals set by the select board for the community.
Before that meeting, as part of our report, could you provide anything post-March 10th that may have been on the strategic plan as an action item that would have been impacted by resident votes?
Yes.
That would be helpful. Anything else you think you'll need? No.
Okay, great. And yeah, let me know. I mean, if any of you have ideas, but you need help or would like help brainstorming how to approach that or how we might integrate that into the strategic plan, let's meet, come in, we can talk about specifics. I have a list of ideas that have come up over the last year that, especially select board activities, things that we've done, and I've looked back, say, okay, where does this fit into the strategic plan? Oh, really should, but it doesn't. And so I have some of those that I'll certainly bring and will be part of the process. Any other questions on March 16th meeting? Okay, great. The NHMA 2027-2028 legislative policy process. So Select Person Capiello will participate in the review process. There are two opportunities for the Select Board to involve itself in that process as a collective. One would be making a proposal for any legislative policy proposals. So this would be anything that doesn't appear in the NHMA legislative policy positions or something you want to see changed. And then the second component, and this happens later in the process, is floor proposals. So this would be the way to make a proposal, have it reviewed by the committees, and they'd weigh in and move on. And then the New Hampshire Municipal Association membership rules also allow for floor proposals to be submitted much later in the process, not reviewed by the committees, and decided on the floor of the policy conference. Generally, this select board hitches horses pretty well with the policy positions of the New Hampshire Municipal Association. So nothing stands out to me where this select board has been at odds, or there's something that this select board has wanted NHMA to advocate for, but NHMA doesn't because of a policy position. But if there's something I'm not aware of or something important to you, we've got time.
Concerned about, what is it, HB 158 or something, the one that forbids the select board from telling sheriff or law enforcement that they can or cannot join with ICE. And
Let me.
I forgot the numbers exactly, but it.
NHMA is generally opposed to any take back of local control. So legislative decision that would eliminate the ability of a local community. Let me see what their position on that is.
Okay.
Yep.
Has NHMA proposed anything in the past that has to do with the states continuing to downshift costs to municipalities?
Much.
So that
And
will
they
probably
did.
come up again.
Yeah, a few meetings ago, we talked about the document that NHMA prepares tracking state aid to municipalities in those trends and state revenue trends, et cetera. They've updated that document for this legislative cycle to support their advocacy. And so NHMA doesn't sponsor legislation or write legislation generally. They're responding to legislation that exists and taking that. But there's much more recently of the downshifting of costs that they're opposing. And when there are opportunities to increase support to municipalities, they're supporting that. Of course. And that's all I have.
Should we take a moment and just do our schedule for Tuesday now? Would you prefer that?
Sure, that would be super helpful. What's the 10th look like for y'all? Jim usually prefers first thing in the morning.
But if I need to take time off in the
Yeah, afternoon would be good for me.
I would prefer to take the late shift.
Okay. What time would you prefer to be there?
30 or 6 would be.
When does it end?
8 to 7.
8 to 7.
Oh, it's 8 till 7, I'm sorry.
Can we do 5 to 7 for you? Yeah.
5:30 would be
Okay.
best for me, but if
Understood.
earlier, I can do
5:30
that.
p.m. Well, and there may be, depending upon how many handwritten candidate names there are, there's generally some work to do. So, okay. Afternoon, what time works for you?
So after 2, how about 2?
Okay. Let's do, could you stay till 5:30 so that,
do that.
okay?
I get there
That would
earlier.
be lovely.
Okay.
Midday, should I cover midday?
Sounds like
Why don't I do 11 to 2? Tracy?
So Jim's agreed to do most,
So-
about 6 hours, right?
No, he said 8 to 8.
Um, opens at 8 a.m., so we have 8 to 11. Do you want to, what time works for you?
That works for me.
Okay. Okay, why don't we have, Why don't we have you do 8 to 9:30 and you do 9:30 to 11? Oh, okay.
And certainly anybody's welcome anytime throughout the day. Great.
Okay. Thank you all.
Don't forget to get a Legion Post 114 hot dog while you're there.
That is very important. They sell out quickly, and they're the best steamed hot dogs in the
Best
world.
glizzy in town right
there it
there.
is.
Our
Okay.
assistant Parks and Recreation Director calls them democracy dogs.
I like that. Democracy dogs. Up next, Municipal Office Administrator Cottle. What do you have for us?
You've already signed two wet signatures,
Yep.
for the forest fire warden reappointment forms, an additional manifest for AP for winter contractor, and then on Thursday via DocuSign, you guys will have plenty of oaths to sign.
Ah, super interesting. Thank you. Okay, under new business, and this is riveting to see. There was a lot of work that went into this. Would you like to share the sign working group information?
So there's some background information in the town administrator report. I think you're all aware signs have been a priority, but unfortunately continued to be pushed down the priority list because of available time and, more importantly, available funding for pursuing this initiative. There have been many more reasons recently why pursuing improved signage in Barrington is a priority and should be a priority in town. And so we finally rung the bell and brought together a group of interested folks in finding the best way to showcase Barrington and have some Barrington pride, especially in announcing, hey, you're here in Barrington, or, you know, this is the town center, how we highlight our municipal facilities or parks or conserved lands, et cetera. And so this committee got together, started at the 50,000 foot level, thinking about components of signs, what's important that we pay attention to, and think about what are the themes that we want to try to see across different types of signs. And then once we kind of wrapped our head around that stuff, the group worked into prioritizing the different sign categories that they wanted to spend time on. And so those categories as they exist right now is having a gateway sign, one big official welcome to Barrington sign, which we've always talked about at the 9 and 125 intersection. Having town line signs, of which we do have 4 right now. They're white and rusty and due to be refreshed. Wayfinding signs, so these would be signs like at the end of Smoke Street and Route 9 saying this way to the Public Works facility and transfer station and BYA fields, or at the end of Ramsdale saying this way to the community center, early childhood learning center. Facility signs, of which we have, and we have a good theme for, which we drew from a lot in what we do, but those will need to be updated as time passes and as new facilities are established. Park and conservation sign properties, which we don't have any really good way that we're notifying the public about these existence or putting our stamp on them, saying this is a municipal facility. You know, we have a lot of conserved land in Barrington, and to the average resident, they don't know the difference between land that's owned by Southeast Land Trust and owned by the town, and trails that are maintained by the town or other entities. History and information sharing signs, so finding ways to take the rich history that we have, not only on our conserved land, but throughout Barrington, and finding a uniform way to present that information to folks. And that's kind of a primary initiative of the group that Joyce brought together relative to trail history and digging into some of that work. We had some really motivated folks from the Historical Society as well. They also talked about, you know, exploring the opportunity to have a banner over Route 9 with information that might be swapped out over time. So that's kind of roughly in the priority list. The efforts then moved into those town line signs and say, let's, you know, start to put some sort of a style guide together on those. I provided some details. I also provided, just as a point of reference, a kind of a first pass with a local company of what decision making we might have and options that might exist for the types of signs we'll be looking for. Since the town administrator report publication, I also have some pricing options. So for the signs that are in the signs and the sign posts that are in the town administrator report in this kind of design options, the individual signs range from $1,100 to $2,500 a piece. So that's not installed, but that's the fabrication of the sign and the sign posts. So just as a matter of scale.
And that's what you're calling option 3 here?
Well, just the options. So like
okay.
option 2
As well?
is cheaper because it's one post and smaller.
But that still might be 1,100.
Yes.
Option 3, we can still have like a little population sign that hangs below it too. You know, because of the 2 posts.
So we're not, this isn't a final product. We just wanted to get head going. Yes, you have something?
Jumping the gun here, but since we're talking about funding, I mean, is there a way that we might be able to look at local businesses for sponsorships?
So not with branded sponsorships. So they could fund them, but their name couldn't be on them because they would exist in the right of way of state routes, most of them. And there is a prohibition through federal highway on any, that's why like a business sign in the right of way is that blue rectangle. The reason that's what it is because it can't be anything else. Now, we have a few other ideas that we're exploring, like an Adopt-a-Spot program, where there would be gardens and general upkeep around these signs and opportunities for businesses to contribute to that Adopt-a-Spot program in kind of an organized way. And so you'll see that on the list as well. But keep the ideas coming. We have a good group that's done a lot of brainstorming, but it's the reason I want to bring this to the board and the community now is to facilitate that next level of thinking and make sure we turn over every stone. And so I won't get into all the specifics, but this is where we wanted to bring the project and give an update to the select board. And there are 2 kind of next steps. So I provided more background and details in the town administrator report about the different signs and some of our consideration for those categories of signs. But I'm moving to next steps now, which is on page 9. So what we'd like to do with support from the select board is we'd like to prepare a request for qualifications that will allow us to go out to the business world, the sign business world, and say we're looking for a long-term partner in finalizing designs and manufacturing and potentially installing signs among all of these categories in Barrington. And so that's one way we felt like it would be important to have some consistency if we're always going back to the same design specialists and or manufacturers to say, okay, you know, this is what we're looking for. Since publication of the town administrator report, we also have the facility manager for the school is going to come to our next sign working group meeting. And it's very likely that they will want to jump on board. My conversation with the superintendent is they're looking to have just a solution and be consistent and have maintain that consistency. And so we'd like to do it in a comprehensive way so we can look back at the process and say, okay, we did everything we could to find the best partner in this, not only in cost, but in expertise and in staying power and ability to maintain and respond and all the rest. We have a lot of good local options. And so this working group would put together that RFQ, advertise it, make a recommendation to the select board. The select board will obviously have the final say, but the hope would be, like I said, to have a long-term partner in that. So we have somebody to go to. Just as a reason, one of the reasons that matters, the signs, all of the facility signs that we have in town were hand carved and hand painted. And it's been very difficult to have those maintained because it's because of the staying power of how they were made originally. And so
original king pines in town.
Right, precisely. So anyways, that's one next step. And then the next step is funding. And so I've brought this up a couple of times through the last year as we've accepted some unanticipated revenue. In 2025, the select board accepted about $49,000 in unanticipated revenue. This is mostly from energy efficiency rebates and rebates from the solar installation on the town hall from the IRS, a couple of years after. That's about how that process works. We've committed some of those funds through the budget process, 18,000 of that towards the one-time kind of increased election costs because we have 3 elections this year, so offsetting the operating budget in that way. But there's still about $31,000 that we have to be able to fund projects like this. And so I'd like the select board to consider earmarking those funds for not just the town line signs, but the sign project in general. Some of these things will start to get pretty expensive pretty quick, and it'd be nice to be able to execute on them when the time comes. And so those not looking for decisions tonight, any other input or questions, I'm happy to have. But if that's something the select board's comfortable with, then at an upcoming meeting, we'll have a recommendation for a request for qualifications that through this group, and then reserving some funds for future implementation of the sign projects.
Keep up the great work.
Would our public works department be able to install the signs as a cost saving?
Yes, that's plan A. Yep, when possible. And so there's a lot of intricacies. So the state routes are complicated for a variety of reasons. There are a lot of town routes for things like town line signs where we have more options because it's our right of way. For the state routes, one of the things we'd really like to do is for the town line signs, just work with the abutting property owners or nearby abutting property owners and secure an easement, secure a permanent easement outside of the state right of way where we can have a town line sign and it can just be there. And I'll, because it's a business, I'll just give it as an example. North on 125, Just Oil, most of that lot is in Barrington. They actually have like a sliver that's in, most of the businesses in Rochester, and they have a sliver that's in Barrington. And you can see a big granite post right there. That's the town line. That's the property boundary between Barrington and Rochester. But anyways, we're talking about, approaching property owners like that and say, hey, can we secure an easement for this area outside the right of way, have a town line sign, and then we'd have more opportunities for things like sponsored signs, if that's something we'd want to do, which I'm not positive we'd want to do that for like a town line sign, with like a advertised sponsorship, but we'd have more options because it's outside the right of way. So installation's another example. If we was on private property adjacent to the highway, now we have more flexibility for the highway department installing. We can use different materials for the installation. Like in the right of way of a state highway, there's limitations. You can have a 4x4 wooden post. Anything bigger than that has to have holes drilled in it so it meets the breakaway capabilities and things like that. So there's lots and lots of layers to the project, but the Public Works Department, the plan would absolutely be leverage their capabilities wherever possible.
So to the rest of the committee, the Trails and History group will want to do interpretive signs on some of our trails. We're looking at 5 trails. So this will also require signage, a different type of signage. But I guess we could talk about whether the sign committee wants to take on that design will look like.
And I think that's part of the plan, to at least build some parameters around. So let a group like the Trail History and in other cases, the Historical Society, focus on the content and have a ready-made, either by the committee itself or with help from a selected consultant. Okay, this is how we make a form factor for something like interpretive signs.
Great.
I just, when we're talking about allocating funds like this, we have to be good stewards of these funds. And so I do think that it would be important. There's clearly a lot of work that went into this, but when they are coming up with that, request for qualifications, I think it would be important to maybe have like a couple of different options. These are the highest priority signs. This is because we don't know how far the money is going to go, and we don't want to overcommit, overextend, or, not manage this prudently. So I think it would be good to have a couple of different options as far as like, these are the top priority signs, things that will probably cost at different cost levels.
Excellent point. And I think one of the benefits of doing a request for qualifications process is we wouldn't be making a commitment to a company to spend any amount of money in the beginning. We're not taking a project and putting that out to bid and awarding that. We're partnering with subject matter experts, and the pitch to them is, the hope is that this is a long-term project. When we need a sign, you will be who we call. And so yeah, but to your point about it, sharing that information, the group spent a while working on priorities, and like the different categories of signs are kind of the framework of those priorities, but there'd be a lot more granular prioritization to make sure that we know, as you said, when we're going to run out of money, when we do run out of money, what do we want to make sure that we accomplish first? So, point taken. So no action required, inputs appreciated.
Super exciting.
And I'll
Love
keep
it.
you posted.
Love it. Okay. Select board report outs. Am I signing this?
No.
Okay, report out, please.
So the zoning board of administration met earlier this month for a single case regarding a building permit for a class 6 road. And that has been continued to a site walk, which will occur in April because it is a snowy, steep lot. So we're hoping to get some melting before we get the zoning board out there. So that was the only case we heard, and it's been continued to that site walk, and then will be heard further in April.
All right, planning board, we had only one case at our last meeting, which is unusual, and that was the Longshore Drive that we just approved. We worked with them around some language. The septic ordinance committee met last week, and I think we're at the last draft now. Lisa just sent one around late yesterday. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, but I think we're getting close to completing that task. Then it will go into stormwater management.
I didn't attend, but you may have seen the notes from Peter. Peter wrote notes for the transfer station committee. They're addressing. We're going to be looking more closely at the potential for what we do with our trash in the coming several years.
Excellent.
And ABC didn't meet. School board had their meeting and usual stuff.
Understood.
Okay, Parks and Rec. I saw definitely online. Ales and Trails looked wicked fun. They have about a month left with wrapping up the renovations, and they're excited to get things back up and running. They do have a new brochure out with a number of new destination van trips as well. So check that out.
Very good. Conservation Commission was rescheduled, and you heard from Energy and made decisions on the work they had been doing. So not sure I have much else to contribute. Anyone interested in that site walk for ZBA? It's April 8th at 10:30 a.m. Bring your snowshoes. Bring your snowshoes. Okay. At this time, I would like to motion for a non-public for purpose of personnel. Oh, sorry, second public comment. Thank you, sir. Anyone online who wishes to speak, go ahead and mouse over your screen. Click on the hand icon. You'll be recognized. Seeing as no one, and given that there is no one in-house, I'm going to close the second public comment, make a request to move to a non-public for purpose of personnel. Do I have a second?
Second.
And roll call, please.
Knocko, aye.
Capiello, aye.
Manchuric, aye.
Sakoshai.
Article 5. Motion carries. We'll be back after non-public. Call, please.
Samaco, aye.
Gabriella, aye.
Sakosha.
Hardikoff, aye. Welcome everyone back to the Select Board meeting for March 2nd. At this time, I'd entertain a motion to not seal minutes.
Motion
What do
not
you want?
required?
Okay, that's
Motion
it.
to adjourn?
A motion to adjourn.
So
Adjourn at 8:07 p.m.
I'll second it.
Roll call.
Samaco, aye.
Gabriella, aye.
Enter guy?
Sakosha.
Hardikoff, aye. Thank you all.